Evening, everyone. Arsenal win by 2-1 with a nervy end, but overall, for my opinion, a solid performance up against Nottingham Forest in the first Premier League game of the season. Here, myself, Tereak Talks, we're going to be bringing the match reaction to this show. To the game, sorry. So people, get ready as we're about to discuss. Wagwan, everyone. I hope you're doing well and welcome back to Tereak Talks, guys. And what a victory for Arsenal. 3 points on the board. But nervy end, as I said at the beginning. And I'm sure a lot of Arsenal fans felt that when watching the game. But overall, it was a good performance from the Gunners and a good way to start the season with 3 points. We did it last season against Crystal Palace. And we saw how that was able to give us the platform to springboard ourselves into a very good start to the season. So it was a difficult fixture away last season at Palace, and this one, a lot of Arsenal fans were entering this game with a lot of confidence, hoping for 3s and 4s. I did predict a 4-1 myself, but we're going to be talking about all the key points in the game, individual performances, and talking about the players individually as well. I kind of said that. I'm repeating myself. Apologies, guys. It's late here in the UK whilst I'm doing it. Had some technical difficulties earlier, so I wasn't able to bring a watch along for the Aston Villa game, for which they got battered in that. So I do apologise to those who are looking forward to that and watching. And we will be bringing you the double watch along tomorrow. But here we're going to be talking about the mighty Arsenal. As you can see, I've got the new kit fresh for the new season, and I did tell you that I would show you the name that I've got on the back for the new season. Let me show it you right now. It wasn't. I had Bukayo Saka in the last one. Let's have a look. Had to be the man, Declan Rice. We'll certainly talk about his performance in here as well. But big up to everyone that's here watching. We've got Mohammed in the building saying, hi, Tariq. Is there a link to participate with you? If depends how the stream goes, I'm happy to do in the second half to do like a call-in style. And maybe probably do that in the future as well for these Arsenal match reactions in particular. And then even for all the other match reactions that we do on the channel. Big up my bro Paxton says, still late, but at this point, it's the best I can hope for. I'm here, thankfully. It was worse than being late earlier, not being able to bring you that stream. But yeah, big up to my bro Pax. He says, still 24 away from 700. So if you are new, don't forget to like and subscribe. Exactly. Listen to my boy Pax right there as we're about to start this match reaction here. And let's kick it off with the starting lineup, because when this starting lineup was announced, it was very interesting. It wasn't something that a lot of people predicted. Moss, when we did the Burnley versus Man City watch along, he did ask, because there was going into the game, there was doubts surrounding Gabriel Magalhaes's fitness, and there was a lot of leaks coming out that he was not in the squad for tomorrow's game, but that got dispelled quite quickly with Team News and Ticks, who was a well-sourced and well-connected ITK, who brings a lot of the fancy Premier League news, team news, and helps with tickets as well. Everything is on the tin there. But here is the lineup that we did start with, and we had Ramsdale in goal, and who did drop out was Gabriel, and Arsenal started with a back three of some sorts, and this is what it was like throughout the majority of the game in possession, with Benjamin White in there, with Saliba and Timber at the back. You saw Partey play as like a right back at times, out of possession, but in possession, he inverted and tucked in from that right side, with Declan Rice to the left of him. And then we kind of played with like a front five throughout the majority of the game, and Arteta said that Gabriel's exclusion was tactical, not anything to do with injury. So it was quite interesting to see with the front five of Martinelli to the left, Havertz in that attacking 8/10 10, basically, roaming 10, with Eddie Nketiah up top being the central focal point, with Ødegaard in that right half space as an 8/10. Again, it's hard to really put numbers and roles on these Arsenal players who rotate so much, and they're a nightmare for an opposition. And then you've got Bukayo Saka to the right as well. So this was very interesting. And going into the game, I was very intrigued to see how this would pan out. As Arteta said, he wanted to add some unpredictability into how Arsenal play and how Arsenal set up, because if you remember last season, we all knew our best 11 from the first game of the season. And now what I want and we've always wanted to see is, once again, you're going to hear us liken ourselves to Manchester City a lot, because they are the people who set the standards of this league, being the champions. They have that unpredictability. You don't know who's going to start week in, week out for those fancy Premier League players. It is a nightmare, but it causes a lot of opposition headaches. You don't know how they're going to set up. And Arteta and Pep want to set up their teams based on the opposition that they're playing, based on how they think the game is going to set up and the areas that they feel they may be able to exploit. And this was a real indication of how Arsenal wanted to start this season against Forest. They knew there was going to have a lot of possession and that Forest were going to predominantly sit in their low block, trying to hit us on the counter attack. So we added in our best ball players in terms of with the build-up play with White, Saliba, Timber. They're our best defenders in that aspect, in progressing the ball, getting it into that middle area, providing that physical and defensive stability with Partey in there and Declan Rice with a lot of energy in there too. Because Forest are a big side when you're looking at that Forest lineup. They've got some big tall players, the likes of Joe Worrell, Scott McKenna, Ryan Yates, and then when Cheku Kouyaté came off the bench, they are trying to come up and be a physical side. And Arsenal are one of the bigger sides in the league now, and that is by design from Mikel Arteta. And then having that front five win there, so we're trying to overload in those attacking areas and really pin them back, which is also a defensive move too, to really pin them back and not allow them to have the numbers to spring on the counter. But if they do, we saw a lot of transitions where these guys would counter press and win the ball back excellently in that first half in particular. So yeah, it was really intriguing to see how Arteta set this side up. And just talking about it from a tactical perspective, what I noticed very early on in that game was White and Partey rotating quite a lot. And Partey started the game in that right back position. So when it was a bit bitty to begin with, Forest are trying to go for the long balls, and it's just all about winning second balls. You know how the game gets at times when it becomes broken up, and it's not you didn't really settle into the pace of the game within the first 2 minutes. You saw Partey in at right back, but then as soon as the game settled down, about 2-3 minutes in, Partey tucking into that centre and Ben White along in that back three. But what we also saw in the game, and I love this, because you want to be unpredictable, as Arteta says. Partey would drop into that back three, and White would become an overlapping right back at times, and he really mixed that up well, and it helped Saka, who was one of the stars, as you can see from the thumbnail and title. From the thumbnail of this reaction, and it was very hard for Nottingham Forest to pick up. And looking into the season, it's going to be extremely difficult for our opponents to really combat that and know what to expect from Arsenal, which is towards the end of last season, teams were able to do their best. It's not Arsenal still won a lot of games and were still able to score a lot of goals, but they were able to really set up, especially those teams that only had one game a week. We struggled against the likes of Liverpool towards the end of the season, West Ham, Southampton, who really knew how Arsenal were going to set up and the weaknesses that they could exploit. Whereas having that White Partey rotation, I thought that was really impressive to see, and something that I'm sure we'll see in other games going forward. And because of that unpredictability, we might not even see it in the next game. I'd like to hear your thoughts as well in the chat, guys. What you thought of those rotations there. Further up the pitch, he was looking at Ødegaard and Havertz. Havertz really going forward, being almost like a second striker, being very close to Eddie Nketiah, working in and around. Whereas when we get into those attacking areas to put the ball in the box, you're seeing Havertz making those runs there. We didn't get too many crosses in, especially in the air, because Forest had three massive defenders. I forgot to even mention Willy Bolly, who was one of the standouts for Nottingham Forest in this morning's match. Well, this afternoon, because it was a delayed kickoff. But yeah, so they had three real big players who are 6'3" plus there. So we wasn't putting too many balls into the box, but overloading them, pushing them back and making them work in the end. And that's how we were able to grab our 2 goals. But Ødegaard pulling the strings, working extremely well down that right side with Bukayo Saka. It's from that tactical perspective, I thought that was quite interesting. Into the game, the first chance fell to Nottingham Forest, and I watched it back a few times. It kind of caught me off guard because it was just a simple ball over the top. Saliba headed it back towards that Martinelli, and it was Willy Bolly, in fact, who came up with a towering header, rose above Martinelli, played it in behind our defence, and Brennan Johnson was there to latch onto it, who was left 1v1 with Ramsdale. But it was a poor finish from the Welshman as he hit it over the bar. He tried to dink it with the inside of his foot, but got it completely wrong. And from an Arsenal perspective, watching it back, the player at fault was actually Jurrien Timber. So when Saliba did head the ball back, Jurrien Timber went back into towards the left back position, but left William Saliba with 2 players, as Danilo and Brennan Johnson were the closest to him. Danilo kind of blocked off Saliba's run, not illegally, just stood there, and Saliba wasn't able to get anywhere near Brennan Johnson. But if Timber's there, he potentially cuts that ball out and could even trap the run of Brennan Johnson. But yeah, it was just a little bit of lacking concentration there from Jurrien Timber in that moment. And in the Premier League, it can lead to a massive opportunity like that, where Nottingham Forest should have scored and they should have taken the league in that moment. But later on, in the 26th minute, Arsenal did take the lead, and it was, if you haven't seen it, guys, I do urge you to go and watch it. Magical feat from Gabriel Martinelli. He was outstanding tonight. This afternoon, it was a moment of brilliance. Brazilian Joga Benito, as we like to call it, with a nice pirouette. He went for like a Zidane roulette 360, but he backheeled it to Eddie Nketiah, who, when I was watching it at the time, I was like, he had so many options. He could have laid it off for Ødegaard. Looking at it even afterwards, there was Havertz, who was free at the back post. That one was more of a difficult pass to make. And I'm thinking, lay it off, Eddie, lay it off. But with that striker's instinct and predator instinct that he has, he went for the shot. It took a big deflection, which wrong-footed Turner, but Arsenal took the lead. And if you don't shoot, you don't score. And we kind of got that look there. And when you've got so many bodies at the back from a Nottingham Forest perspective, you are going to expect, the deflections are going to happen, especially when you're that deep. It leaves the keeper with a little to no chance to make a save in that moment. So Arsenal took the lead after, up to that point, we was creating not really many chances, but pinning Nottingham Forest back. I liked how Arsenal were being patient in that moment. And when teams are going to be set up in that way and very resolute, and they were well organised until that point, Nottingham Forest, you need that little bit of magic, which Gabriel Martinelli certainly has. And then very shortly after, in the 31st minute, about 5 minutes after that, Bukayo Saka with a wonder goal. My word, another one. 2 beautiful goals from an Arsenal perspective that really got the Emirates crowd up and off their seats after a delayed start, a delayed kickoff by half an hour due to the e-ticketing system that Arsenal have introduced this season, where it's a completely e-ticketing, no paper tickets. And yeah, they had some technical difficulties there, but it was well worth the wait when you see those 2 goals. And Bukayo Saka, I just want to talk about how this guy has perfected that left foot shot. He's really improved in his ball striking and shooting from distance. And we saw it on occasions last season where the Man United game up against Luke Shaw cut inside and bent it into that bottom corner. Here he put it into the top corner, cutting from the right in onto the left, and giving Matt Turner no chance. It was a wonderful strike from Bukayo Saka, and this is where we're talking about this kid getting to those world-class levels. To be honest, I think he is already, personally, just in terms of how he plays and how he puts so much fear into the opposition, providing with end products as well now. Of course, when you're talking about world-class ability, it's very subjective. If someone is world-class, you may look at it in terms of have they led their team to a trophy or success. But I think, from my point of view, I think you have to put Bukayo Saka there. And at such a young age, he's 21, and he's got the highest goals and assists from a player in the Premier League under the age of 22. It is outstanding, and what a player he is. And being able to put Arsenal on his back at times, where now he's in a very good team, one of the best teams in the league, and he's still able to shine, and he's improved his game and looks even more of a threat. And he's very sharp at the start of the season. Bukayo Saka, very much impressed with him, and him and Martinelli in particular in that game, and they were able to put us up in the lead 2-0. And yeah, now you're thinking, how many are Arsenal going to put past Forest? We even ended the first half quite well on top with a few shots. Declan Rice had an opportunity, and it was very comfortable. And it was very comfortable from the first half all the way up till Nottingham Forest made some substitutions. They brought on Anthony Elanga and Taiwo Awoniyi, and they added some real attacking impetus to Nottingham Forest's game. And Anthony Elanga, with his speed and his energy that he's able to provide in behind, especially when legs are beginning to tire. It's the first game of the season. There is going to be some tired legs and tired minds. Fitness levels aren't at their sharpest. You kind of expect that maybe 5 games in, you'd say, when players are at their physical peak. I'll talk more about this later in terms of how much demands on the players, because I've got a specific point I want to speak about that there. But the players, I kind of felt that. And with the Forest goal in the 82nd minute, I watched it back. And if you guys watch it back again, I'm sure those Arsenal fans, those who are Arsenal fans will. Declan Rice, I feel like if five games in, when his fitness levels are much higher, I feel like he gets there and he prevents that cross to the front post. But overall, it was a brilliant counter-attack for Nottingham Forest. And sometimes you just have to hold your hands up, guys, and just say, there was the space. It was from our corner. They counter-attacked. We had players back. But Anthony Elanga's speed, because Saka tried to keep up with him, Ben White couldn't move over across to Elanga because of Taiwo Awoniyi. And Taiwo Awoniyi made he took 2 movements, and the second movement he went across the front post, and it was a good finish, good ball, good finish from Taiwo Awoniyi, who scored against us in last season when we lost Nottingham Forest at the City Ground. So I thought it was a very good goal from Nottingham Forest. The only thing, apart from Rice, I said if he was a bit fitter, I think he would have got there. And if it was earlier on in the game too. But I would also say Ramsdale's positioning was a bit questionable for me. He was beyond his front post. Yes, I understand keepers have to be very close to their front post there to stop any near post shots going in. And if Ramsdale gets beat there, we're going to be all going crazy. But I don't know. I'm not a goalkeeper. I'm not a goalkeeping coach. So yeah, maybe I don't know if he did anything wrong, but either way, even if he's standing exactly where you want him to, I still think that there's enough pace on the shot and good direction. It's quite impossible for Ramsdale to save that there. So it was a good goal. But in the end, it was Nervy. Forest were getting some balls into the box, not really creating any chances. Arsenal had a few opportunities on the counter-attack to cause them problems, but we couldn't quite score. And in that moment, you just want the third goal from an Arsenal fan's perspective. You're like, if Forest went and got a 2-2 draw here, it would have felt like it would have been heartbreaking because they didn't deserve it on the balance of the game. But you know how this Premier League is, you know how crazy it gets. And yeah, with the PTSD scars from last season, being 2-0 up at points, yeah, you probably kind of had flashbacks to that. But now, overall, when that final whistle went, when the nerves calmed down and the anxiety was dissipated, it was a very good Arsenal win and a good performance and something to build from, and something that I thought was very interesting in terms of how we lined up. It's completely different to how a lot of people predicted. I just want to talk about now some individual performances. But before I do, I want to ask you guys to make sure you smash that like button. If you haven't done so already, subscribe if you're new. If you're watching this afterwards, please get engaging in the comments. I do urge you to do so. It'd be lovely to see you guys and just see your username. And yeah, and welcome to the community. Check out the links in the description. We've got a Discord server. I've got all my links to my socials. If you want to follow me on Twitter, that's where I'm most active. But I've got my other social pages there. So yeah, please do check it out if you like. We're going to be bringing TikTok content very soon as well. I'm just trying to work this out. I need to work out what content I'm going to do, and yeah, it's underway. Well, it's not underway yet, but soon come. It will. So some individual performances that I wanted to speak about. Let's go with the main guys, and that is Bukayo Saka and Gabriel Martinelli. Last week against Manchester City, neither of them were at their best for me. I thought they both put in decent performances. And with Bukayo Saka and Martinelli and the players that we've got now overall, they're all going to give you at their worst a 6 out of 10. And I felt like that's what both of those did their jobs defensively, weren't at their sharpest going forward. But today, it was completely different. They were the linchpins into Arsenal's attacks and the reasons why and key parts why we scored the goals, the 2 goals. And I thought throughout the game, even excluding the goals, Bukayo Saka on that right, Onana actually had a decent game. I thought he wasn't too bad, but you can't switch off at all with this guy, and the role and the combinations that we're able to create when Ben White's overlapping, when he's got Odegaard to the inside of him, and when even towards the second half you saw Havertz drifting over to that right and making it like a diamond in there. It's so hard for the opposition to come up against them. It's almost unplayable when Bukayo Saka's on his day. There's not many wing backs, left backs in the world that can stop him when he's on this sort of form. Arsenal went through him a lot, and Odegaard supporting him. He was outstanding. You know, when Odegaard gets into a game like this and you can really get him turned into that half space with and opening up the game on that left foot, you can't get the ball off of him with his silky smooth, tricky feet. And then Bukayo Saka, he's just so, he can take you down the line. He's so strong. Ornstein tried to get close to him a couple of times and he was able to hold him off. But there was also a few times, in fairness to Ornstein, where he made some tackles, but he still can't keep a good man down like that. Bukayo Saka, what a player he is. And if he can continue being consistent, we can make sure he stays fit, because he's been fit now. He's played every single game in the Premier League for the last 2 years. Surely we're going to have to rotate him with the amount of games and competitions that we're going to look to compete in this season. But I just wanted to big shout out to him and Gabriel Martinelli, especially in that first half. He consistently gets you off your seat with that goal, with the piece of magic there. And then even after that, Serge Aurier tried to get tight to him, and he was just nutmegging him, running around him. He can take you on the outside as well and on the inside. Arsenal have so much pace and directness and unpredictability from their wingers, but in a good sense, because sometimes when you have wingers that are unpredictable, they can be unpredictable for your own teammates. You don't know what you're going to get from them. but they're so consistent with their output and with their threat and their danger and what they can also give you from a defensive standpoint with their counter pressing, with their tracking back when needed. It's very much Man City and Liverpool-esque. We know, I want to give a big shout out to Liverpool in this, because with Sadio Mane and Mohamed Salah, especially with Mane, you didn't realize how hard they worked. They were the best attack in the league, not just because of how good they were going forward, but how hard they worked going back. They give you no moment's rest. When you're on the ball, when you're in possession, you think, okay, they're not going to cause me any danger here. Come from your blind side and nick it off you and then create another transition and another attack. They are relentless. And this is what I'm seeing from Saka and Martinelli in particular, and the whole Arsenal side, to be quite honest. And this is the image, the side that Arteta wanted to create, that intensity, that they don't give you a moment's breath in any moment, in any period of the game. And that's what Saka and Martinelli did. And I have to pair them up together when talking about them. Saka, the man of the match for me, because he grabbed the goal and because we did go down that right-hand side a lot during the game. So Bukayo Saka, man of the match today. The other individual performance I want to speak about is our new signing, £105 million man with add-ons included as well. That one. The one who I've got the name on the back of my shirt, guys. Declan Rice. He's improving game by game. Him today, his ball recoveries, how he was able to win like in just any transition that Forest was trying to create. Whenever we make a turnover, trying to find that pass to unlock the defense, Declan Rice is all over it, especially when it's near that left-hand side. And he's just a teammate's dream. The way he's able to motor up and down the pitch and just reads the game and senses danger so well. And when you're looking at it, that's where you go, yeah, I understand why Arteta really wanted this guy, because we was all happy with Partey for the majority of the season. We were happy. All we asked for is someone to come in of a similar level to Partey, because we know of his injuries and fitness issues and lack of consistency at times. But Declan Rice, he gives you something else. So you're able to play him with Partey because of what he can give you in bringing the ball going forward and what he can do for you in transitions, especially. And that is why he is so I've got to praise him so much. People will speak about him and rivals will look and say, he doesn't look special because he's not playing these brilliant line breaking passes all the time. He just keeps it safe, keeps it ticking. He's got 92% pass accuracy, and he played a lot of the ball safe. I didn't really see him make too many line breaking passes, but I still think he's growing, guys. I still think he's getting comfortable with this Arsenal team and getting an understanding of his teammates, the runs that Martinelli will make. He'll know when he doesn't even need to lift his head up, what he needs to do and the passes he needs to play. And Declan Rice said yesterday, even after the Europa League, the the Community Shield, he said he felt like he was growing and he took a big step after that. And I just keep seeing improvements in his fitness levels and in winning the ball back and feeling more comfortable. I thought he was outstanding. He was unlucky to even score a goal. He took a shot in the first half, which took a big deflection from Joel Worrell. And Matt Turner made a brilliant save, given the fact that he did take a deflection. It was good football from Arsenal, working it on the right-hand side. I think it might have been the second half, actually. But Declan Rice was brilliant. Yes, and in that, and he could have scored, and he had another chance which he didn't quite connect with a cross that was played in. Trossard flicks it over, and he tries to take the shot, and he just drew a save from Matt Turner. But excellent performance from Declan Rice, and certainly one of the best players on the pitch there. Another player that I want to speak about, who's divided a lot of opinion today, in Kai Havertz. I'm not quite sure why he divided a lot of opinion today, because I thought he was good. I thought he was quite good. And the best part of Kai Havertz today was when there was those turnovers, he was getting in there and being physical and winning the ball back and helping Arsenal sustain attacks and giving Nottingham Forest no chance to breathe. I thought he was excellent in terms of winning the ball back. I'm just trying to look into how many he made. He made one tackle, one interception. There was others. He lost the ball quite a few times, but with attackers, they do lose the ball a lot. He won 5 of his 9 ground duels, and he won 3 out of 7 aerial duels, so less than half of his aerial duels. But they're a big physical side, Nottingham Forest. But I thought he was good in that aspect. He didn't create much. Or didn't really have an opportunity to score, but it was that's where I'd say he was good. He wasn't excellent. He wasn't anything to like scream and shout about. But I can see the importance, and I can see why Arteta brought him in, and I think we've improved in that from that Xhaka position, attacking, going forward, especially someone who's more comfortable in those areas. And I thought he had a solid game, Kai Havertz. And while I would look, those of you who think that, if you have the opposite opinion, I'd love to hear your reasons why. But I think what we need to remember is there's 3 phases of a football match, and he was excellent in 2 of them, and he was good in 1. And the two that he was excellent in was with transition, defensively, won his headers from corners, defending, and in transition, he prevented a lot of attacks from them, and he just helped tip the ball forward, get it out to Martinelli, get it out to Saka, Eddie Nketiah, Odegaard, and he did his job, and he occupied defenders. And people say, "Oh, but you pay 65 million for that," but you got to remember, guys, to be good in those 3 aspects of the game is not easy. And it's not easy to do at all. And tell me a player that can give you a solid performance across all those 3. Because it's not that's where I think he's very important, and you will see better games from him as he's still understanding his teammates too. The same goes for Declan Rice, but I thought he was quite good today. Another big performer, William Saliba. Wax lyrical about him. I could talk about him all day long. He was excellent in the Community Shield too. Spoke about him with that. All you got to say is Rolls Royce. That's it. And the final individual that I really want to speak about is Jurrien Timber, because he did pick up that injury, and it was worrying, especially with Arteta's comments coming after the game. He said he was worried about Jurrien Timber as well, because it looked like a knee injury. He got an injury in the first half with Brennan Johnson. He went for a slide tackle and their shins collided. Footballers should probably wear shin pads, not the little things that they have in their socks. And that he was struggling from that. And I think the knee injury came from that. And it was related because he wasn't moving properly, came out in the second half, and it was quite early in the second half when that happened. And it was innocuous and no one was near him. And he just dropped to the ground. And he walked off, but that doesn't always mean it's a good sign, because when you go back to Virgil van Dijk against Pickford, he walked off there and then missed the remainder of the season. So we'll have to wait and see on that. But it is a worry with Jurrien Timber, someone who's been excellent for us in pre-season, someone who was brilliant in the Community Shield against Man City. A lot of people's man of the matches, definitely up there for me. And today you saw his importance in Arteta being able to be flexible with his tactics and try different things out, because he's so comfortable in in all parts of the back line. Play left back, and that's the position he's played in least. Centre back, right back. We all thought that he'd come in that right back position, but with Zinchenko still building his fitness, he's been able to slot in there, and he was excellent. Tomiyasu came on for him, I thought he was okay. Yeah, it was okay. He's not as good as Timber, as you can clearly see. Not as neat and tidy in possession, not as composed as Jurrien Timber. So I really do hope that he'll be fine. But we'll have to keep you guys updated on that if and when we hear more news. Probably best. If I can't even guarantee this because Arteta he's quite coy with injuries. But if we were to hear anything, it most likely be on Monday. Monday, we're giving it 48 hours. They have to give things 48 hours before they can properly assess things like that. So yeah, guys, let me know your thoughts and feelings on the game, people. I'm willing to put the link out there if you guys want it. Just let me know if you do. I'm just gonna have a look and see you guys in the comments right now because yeah, definitely need to see your thoughts and feelings. So yeah, people, get in here and let me know. Big up Gnarl in the building, says Leash, you got the win, mate. You had to see out and manage the game exactly. So sometimes you have to do that. Even once again, when you look at it back, and if you was to watch this back, guys, you would see that it was all right in the end. When you're watching the game, sometimes you feel the height of the emotions a lot. And it heightens your emotions a lot more. But if you watch it back, they didn't really cause any more problems after that. They had the ball in their half the most towards the end of that game, but that typically happens when it is tight and a team has to go for it. They left space in behind, but we just weren't able to capitalize. Paxton says letting Elanga get an assist is criminal. Also, now Arteta will be happy with Eddie for the goal. Not the best start to the season, not the best start, but possible, but job done. Exactly that there. Yeah, Elanga gets a lot of stick for me, but when you're giving him space like that in transition, that's the type of player he is. And I'm sure he'll probably be a success at Nottingham Forest for that reason. I remember watching him on this channel against Atletico Madrid, and he scored a good goal there. And with his speed and his directness, he does thrive there. He's not the most gifted in technically, and when he's coming up against teams that will sit back a bit more, but at Man United, but he's not going to get that at Nottingham Forest, not a lot anyway. And with Eddie Nketiah, I thought, he got the goal and his performance was decent again. That's what you get from Eddie Nketiah. You know what you're getting from him. It's very, unless he scores a hat trick or a brace, you're not really going to get more than an 8. And he's not going to give you, what you would class as an 8 out of 10. He's not like Jesus, where he's going to be excellent in the link-up play and drop in deep and be a nuisance in how he holds the ball up. But he can become, he doesn't take many touches. He's like a light version, the Wish version, I'd say. In all respect to Erling Haaland. Erling Haaland's not involved from Man City in their link-up play or in their approach play in and around the final third. He's just there to score the goal and take the shot when it matters. Yes, Eddie Nketiah isn't as clinical or as deadly or as big a threat as Haaland when he's in the box, because Haaland's got so many ways of scoring a goal. But he's kind of like that when we play with him. So having the likes of Havertz and then around him and the wide men in Saka and Martinelli and Ødegaard pulling the strings, it takes less responsibility in him getting touches on the ball, and he won't roam like Jesus. Me and Pax was having a good chat on Twitter, and kind of like and other people as well that are talking about Alexander Isak and how good he was today. And could you imagine if Arsenal had a Jesus and Isak link up? Yeah, you'd be cooking. And he's not Isak's level at all, Eddie Nketiah, but he gives you a solid performance. And Arteta's, again, it's not bad having solid players when you've got stars like Saka, Martinelli, Kai Havertz. I know that's going to get a lot of people triggered, but someone who can score goals in there as well. Martin Ødegaard, a star once again. And then you can bring on the likes of Trossard, who I thought once again, people, this guy, whenever he comes off the bench, you're like, why are you not starting? But then you realise, yeah, Martinelli's pretty good. So yeah, Leandro Trossard, wow, what a player. And you've got more threats like that. And hopefully we'll see more goals from Fabio Vieira, Mill Smith-Rowe, Nelson potentially, and who else we may bring in this transfer window too. Pack says, I was watching Bobby and Moss doing the watch along. Bobby was saying the subs were wrong and Arteta should have gone for the jugular. Doesn't want City to get a better goal difference, etc. Once again, fine balance. At this stage of the season, Packs, it's all about getting points on the board. Man City weren't good at this point in the season last year, were they? They weren't. People weren't really worried about them. But if you can just stay in there and be brilliant when it comes to the months of April and May, and just be at your sharpest, then that's when you win the leagues. That's the difference. That's what Arsenal need to do. I don't agree. I don't agree with what Bobby said. I don't want to go for the jugular. Get the 3 points on the boards. We'll get goals in other games. We will. I'm sure. Goals weren't the issues, conceding them. So just get the 3 points on the board, and yeah, players staying fit. That's the main thing. So that if we go for it too much and we blow our load by the end of the season, we lose players out for injury or they're not at their physical sharpest. Do you get me? That's my comment. Waffle over until Moss joins. Try to get a word in sideways. Big up yourself. Big up T, says man. Big up to yourself. Big up Moss in the building. G Staffy in the building too. Sorry. Late. It's getting late here. Please no one talk about a certain result. I didn't see what happened for Middlesbrough. I'm sorry, G Staffy. Let's see what you said. Kane, no trophy still. I know he came off the bench, but 3-0 Leipzig. Danny Olmo with a hat trick. Big up to yourself, Shay. Love to see you here. What you got on the back of your Arsenal kit? Decky Rice. United. Saliba, that's what he's going to get for his kit there. Love that. King in the building too. Tezzy, love to see you in here, Tezzy. Hope you're keeping good and well. Long time no see. Martinelli was on fire. He was brilliant, wasn't he? Look, this kid, I say kid, but these guys are men in terms of how they play. I love it and really exciting for the season. King says, I think our structure is a bit imbalanced at the moment, but it will kick on. But I am worried about the mistakes and clear chances we conceded. Ooh, that's interesting, King, because I didn't really think our structure was imbalanced throughout the game. Nottingham Forest didn't cause many problems in the first half. They had 2 chances throughout the game. They scored 1, and they should have scored 2, really. But overall, I thought we were quite well in our balance. Maybe towards the end of the game when you have got tired legs and tired minds, and there's something that it's not as like autopilot for a lot of these players yet to play in this system. So I kind of hear what you're saying there. The goal, the spaces that they were able to take up, and our players weren't there. Or I think it was more of a fitness issue, King, rather than a structural or imbalance, to be honest. And the mistakes, once again, fitness. I really do feel like fitness is a lot, because I saw some tired players. Declan Rice, excellent throughout his game. He couldn't keep up for their goal. He couldn't even keep up with the 1-0 or get into that space. I'm not saying he should have kept up with Elanga, because Elanga's rapid, but just getting into there, I think he would have been able to stop that cross if he was there and if he was fitter, essentially. But yeah, I didn't think I disagree slightly with that. And yeah, so it was only 2 clear chances, really. I urge King, we'll definitely have a chat about this, but I will say I will watch the game back myself, and I'll see what you see if I can see where you're coming from there. Big up my bro Brush in the building, says smash that like button, people. I want my FPL fights. Yeah, sorry for Gabriel. Sorry to those who put Gabriel in because of me. Big up those new subscribers as well. 4 more subs. Come on, let's go, people. Love that. I think today once again showed that Eddie is a good player, but not for our system. Very good goal, but the link up doesn't exist. I don't think the link up does, King. And overall, I would like to improve on Eddie and Nketiah. You know my thoughts on that. If we could get a striker above it, someone that is better in terms of that aspect, I think it will help a lot when Jesus isn't there. But I think against Nottingham Forest, yeah, we will see Eddie and Nketiah play. But if we're coming up against opponents like Man City or Man United, I think you might see Havertz play essentially because his link up's better. And yeah, the thing is, King,
Arteta's going to play different players for different games now. I seriously do think that. And Moss has always been asking for this. This is someone Moss has been speaking about for ages. And that's why I got to give him credit there. Because he's always wanted to see different players coming for different games, whether it's Tierney, whose future looks in doubt, Kivior, Trossard, Vieira, etc. And I think we're going to approach that whatever opponent we face. Eddie is a B-Tech Trezeguet. I hear that poacher. That's what he is. That's where his USP is. He's very good in the box. When the ball's in and around there, he can get shots off. He can sense where the ball's going to land and be there for the back post tap-ins, like he did against United, like he did in Monaco. And I've mentioned that twice now on purpose. Sorry, United fans. I'm going to keep mentioning it when it comes to Eddie. Big up my bro Louis in here as well. Let's go, T. First win for both of our teams. United is my brother. Crystal Palace and Arsenal. We got that kind of love. But that love will stop because you are our next opponents in the Premier League. So, yeah. Build yourself, Louis. We'll be doing a preview show on mine and Eagle Eye Football's channel. So, yeah, stay tuned for that. We missed out on Isak. 63 million seems like a bargain with the way the market is. Yeah, Newcastle, brilliant signing. In that last summer, we signed Gabriel Jesus, and they got him for 45 to 55 million with add-ons. But Isak, brilliant player. Someone was interested in. Yeah, so who knows for the future? I'm sure he would. I ain't coming to the Arsenal. Newcastle are going in a very good direction. They wouldn't want to leave him. What a player he is. Performance. The finish for the second goal is out of this world. Smash the like, building up people. Listen to that. That Saka goal was phenomenal. Sublime, wasn't it, Louis? Beautiful, man. Love that guy. Let's have a look. Hard to jugular when you're up 2-0 and they're all scared at Forest and don't even open up a little. It's true. It is true. You don't want to overcommit and then it's 2-2 like last season. Do you get me? For taking unnecessary risks. Moss thoughts on Jonathan David linked to Spurs. It may just kill me, brush. Everyone who knows Moss, who's ever seen him within the Arsenal community or any community, knows how much he loves Jonathan David. So that, but anyone seeing those links to Jonathan David, I bet their first thought is Moss. Seriously, it's hard not to when it comes to JD. Lol, I can see them making a low move for Lukaku or maybe Tony and Jan potentially. But will Brentford selling Jan? I'm not sure. I don't think they will. It's hard to get players like that in January. I think it's easier to get players out in Europe in January rather than in the Premier League when you're trying to buy from the league. Unless you got a Trossard situation where he's fallen out with a manager and you can take that opportunity there. Next game is Arsenal. Forgot about that. Not really expecting much, but I'll leave that to the preview. I hear you. And that's what, from an Arsenal fan, I like to hear that coming from you because Arsenal are good, very good. But you're at home and away from home in the Premier League is always difficult. Manchester City needed a penalty. The treble winners of last season needed Michael Elise to switch off in a moment to get 3 points there. And that was with Patrick Vieira while she was struggling. So that's what the level in this league. You can't sleep on it. You can't take any game for granted. So getting 3 points on the board against Forest is beautiful. Tony cannot make a deal until Jan, right? Yeah, the ban ends in Jan. That's for sure. Moss will retire from Canada if JD joins. Should Keane goal have counted against Fulham? That one. Yes. That one, I hear you. That one should have counted. I saw it because I was watching Goal Rush, Moss. I was watching Goal Rush. Shout out NordVPN. But what I was going to say is, yeah, that one was a joke. Bern Leno's come out for the cross. He's dropped. He's fallen on Tarkowski, sorry. And the ball fell out of his hands, and they've just tapped it in. And Michael Keane tapped it in? And VAR's giving it a free kick. Stupid. Pathetic. King and Tereak need to take over the channel with Luke. If David went Spurs, we will for you, man. Moss, we can't let that happen. You won't be cheering on Jonathan David. Who knows? He could do a Sol Campbell, Moss. Don't worry. Leno is a meow. That was not a foul, but big ups Fulham. Clutch road win. Yeah, it was a big win. I haven't seen that game. I'll probably watch the extended highlights for that. But yeah, but guys, just in terms of the Arsenal front, I think that's it. I think I'm going to wrap it up here. Really do appreciate you all for coming in here tonight. What I will do from now on with these match reactions, and this is because we've got more people watching now than we did earlier. For these match reactions, I'm going to do the first half, just chat, we'll get my thoughts and opinions out there. And then for the second half, I'll dash the link out in the chat. Remind me to do it just in case I forget. But that is what I want to do for these match reactions. I'll chuck the link in the chat. Tell a friend, tell anyone. Please, it helps get more subscribers into and more people within the community. Tell them, if you want to talk about Arsenal, check out Tereak Talks. He'll do a match reaction on the day of the game, most likely. Even if it's a Champions League game, I'll do it like late night. Don't worry about that. Get the link out there. Bang, let's talk about it. Maybe if it's a Tuesday night, I can't do it because I go into the office on Wednesdays and it's very, very early. But yeah, just before I do wrap up, Kings asked a question here. Do you think ESR will kick on? Big season. And do you know what? Someone who loves ESR, I love every single player in this team. I'm unsure, man. I'm very unsure because defensively, what I saw in that Monaco game, we were open in the midfield and we was giving them more chances. Monaco were very good. They surprised me, but I felt like our press in midfield and ESR defensively isn't switched on. Havertz, much more switched on. Odegaard, don't need to question that there. And Rice and Partey, that's what they excel at. I don't know, man. If I had to give a definitive answer, I'm going to say no. I'm going to say ESR joins Eddie in leaving next season if I had to give a prediction. But I seriously hope I'm wrong. And I hope I'm wrong more about that than Eddie and Nketiah because we know the ability that he has, the skill, the technique. Brushes, man, loves him. Kroenke and De Bruyne, that link-up play. He's an Arsene Wenger perfect player with the rotations, the 1-2s that he can play in. He's excellent. But I just don't think he will. I think if I had to guess, kind of like Tierney, I think we'll move past them, unfortunately. Sorry to say. And I told you about Decordova-Reid, super little Jamaican. Yeah, he came off the bench, scored the winner. Hey, big up Jamaica. And also as well, so let me say this, big up England. 2-1, Alessia. Oh, I love it. Alessia Russo. Oh, man. How amazing. 2-1 victories for both of the teams that I wanted to win today. So, yeah, loved it very much so. Guys, thank you for joining me. Make sure you hit that like button if you haven't done so already. And so please subscribe if you're new. And listen, down at the bottom, if you are a subscriber, really appreciate you. I'm asking you to do a favor. Tell a friend, post and let anyone know. I love to get more people like-minded like you guys within the community. And yes, more subscribers, more Arsenal fans, more non-Arsenal fans. Look, we've got non-Arsenal fans here in the chat that are here just, supporting, that can talk football and love it. Do you get me? With level heads, and even we've got mad people here as well. Not in the chat. None of you guys here in the chat tonight. Trust me, I'm not sending shades. But yeah, people, man, we need it. We need it for sure. Love to you all, people. And promise is the last thing. I promise. Issue with ESR is he is not a system player. A bit like Foden, but with less ability. He needs to nail a position and thrive. Do you know what? I totally agree. But I don't think that would be a problem if he didn't have a position. I think if he had the defensive ability, maybe a bit like Foden, what he's really needed to learn, he could have that versatility. Kai Havertz is a versatile player. He gets away with it because he works well in the counter press. But guys, love and leave you. ESR needs a loan. Exactly. He might do, but you can't really. I don't think he'll want that. Big up everyone. We'll promise and leave you now. We'll chat more tomorrow. People, take care. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday night if you are in the UK, Saturday afternoon, Saturday evening, Sunday morning if you are elsewhere. Peace.